G'day Saturday LinkedIn, welcome to another episode of LinkedIn Lids Off. I'm your host Benny Wallington and I hope you're having a smashing Saturday or weekday if you're watching it on replay. So what we do here is we lift the lid on creativity, businesses and ideas to unleash the froth. Now if you don't know what froth is, if you've heard of flow state, it's kind of similar to that. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get into a position where we can get some froth off someone else and then take that froth with us into the day. We all know people who operate at higher frequencies than us and how good it is to get around with them and just have a chat about all sorts of things, whether it is business related to your job or if it's just about the future of business or work or the future of life itself. That's what we want to do. So I'm going to shake up the format a bit today and I'm going to invite someone in to have a chat about how they access their froth state. This guy is actually perfect for the first edition of an interview because he actually works for LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, LidsOff, interviewing a LinkedIn person on the LinkedIn platform. So I'd like to welcome in Harte, who is a relationship manager for Australia and New Zealand, and something I really like. Come on, Josh, come in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah.
Thanks.
Welcome, mate. Who actually, something that LinkedIn do and I really like is if you've seen people who are on LinkedIn, they don't necessarily have their exact title. So his one is to assist businesses to attract quality talent and empower brands. Right. I think there's some froth in that. I think there's definitely some froth.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is talk to Josh a little bit about LinkedIn and also just how he, as I said, hacks froth state. So as I said, welcome, mate.
Thanks for having me.
First question, and the first element that we talk about when we're accessing our peak froth state is we need to do something for ourselves in the morning, which is just for us. Because if you can't do something for yourself in the morning, then you can't give your best self to someone else. So in the morning, or something that you've done this week, preferably in the morning, what has that been that you've done for yourself that's had you perform at your best?
I like to, if I get up and I usually get outside and go for a bit of a walk. So I'll go down to, I live in the eastern suburbs of Sydney, so I tend to get down to the water, try to go for a bit of a walk and try to I guess just relax myself, because that does give me a bit of relaxation time, and I guess just to make sure that I'm not feeling as any sort of stresses that I guess work can bring to me. But apart from that though, yeah, have a bit of a walk during the day, during the morning as well. Yeah,
definitely. Fresh mornings down in Bondi, you can't beat it.
Can't beat it.
So the next thing is, once you've sort of gathered yourself, is to find a frother. Now, for me this week, I was on a panel with Start Some Good and Tom Dawkins. If you haven't heard of them, they're an awesome crowdfunding company which does positive impact, a bunch of legends. So I got to hang out with him and a bunch of his mates, and that's where I got my froth. And once I'd left that, I went off and I started writing blogs and doing all sorts of stuff. Who is one person this week within your business network or outside that you have found the froth from and taken that forward?
So, just going back to the froth word, I'm initially from Tamworth, so I don't really understand the whole surfing lingo, so thanks for educating me on what that means. That's a good start. But in terms of speaking to someone during the week who has provided, I guess, that uplift for me, his name's John Paul. So hi John Paul, or JP as he's known at work. Look, he's just a very energetic, very positive, very optimistic, I guess, person. So whenever you have a conversation with someone like JP, it tends to really just bring the room up a little bit further. And like I said before, it brings up people's frequencies or their frequency levels to that higher state. So I think having that's important. And if you're going to be surrounded by people who have that higher frequency than yourself, then it can really make the room vibe, I guess, and bring even more positivity to what you're trying to do for the rest of the day.
And I'm sure there's a lot more frothers at LinkedIn.
There's a lot, but JP
will tag you in this one, mate. Love to meet you. So what we want to do is talk a little bit how we can lift the lid on not the potential of LinkedIn, but how can we make our experience with LinkedIn a little bit more powerful. So for me, I guess I started working professionally in advertising. So once I hooked into the LinkedIn platform, a lot of the people that I was connected with, or pretty much all of them, were in advertising. So as you can imagine, my stream was heavily advertising related. I felt like it was either one of three things. There was ads, there was people whinging about advertising from within the advertising industry, and there was people whacking off about how they'd won heaps of awards. No offense, a lot of my friends still work in advertising. It's actually one of the most fun industries to work in, so I'm not sure what they're complaining about. But For me, it got a bit stale, especially when I started moving sort of out of that space. And so LinkedIn for me got a little bit, as I said, stale. So what I tried to do was I started following people in different froth circles, you could probably call it. So I was following film directors because I'm interested in that, people who are working at sports companies. And then I discovered the world of entrepreneurs and startups. And so I started following people within that space, and they share stuff from across the board. So I guess like the way I hack LinkedIn and the way I hack my froth state and really get something out of it is having a variety of people on LinkedIn. So what would you say is the best way for people to get the best out of their LinkedIn and accelerate their froth levels?
Oh, look, I think that having the first and foremost is making sure you have got a well built out profile. I think that's going to be the first thing. A lot of people tend to use LinkedIn for jobs and for networking, but there's a multitude of other reasons why people do use LinkedIn individually. Reasons like your own professional brand. I guess content is another one. So reading or watching any content or educating yourself on the interests that you have. I think a lot of people could could do that a lot more, and I don't think enough people do that, because I don't really know I don't think a lot of people actually utilize the platform as well as they probably should, and there's so much potential and so much content and so much information that you can get your hands onto just by going on to the platform and following people, or including interests that you have, and learning about it further. Yeah,
something that I found really cool was and I didn't realize at first, was that you can go on to someone who's only got a follow button and you can still access them and attempt to connect with them. So I think that might put a fair few people off. Like, you go to Richard Branson and you go, okay, I can't actually connect with the dude. But if you go into the little button to the right of that, the little down arrow, you can actually click connect. And yeah, so there's potential for you to access, what was the stat? Like 41% of millionaires and above are using LinkedIn. So there's potential to connect with people of all walks of life. And if millionaires are your thing, then that's pretty cool as well. So yeah, I guess the other thing is with LinkedIn, there's other ways for people to, so they're going after a category. I would suggest going after, say, a film director, and then the beauty of it is that if you follow that person or if you try and connect with them, it then brings up another bunch of people sort of outside within their circle and their circle. What do you think the power of that and the future of that is with LinkedIn?
Oh, I think it's very powerful. I mean, making sure that there's going to be so many people out there that have, that could assimilate with you and your interests or what you're doing and, what you sort of strive to achieve at the same time. I feel like it's endless in terms of the opportunity that's going to be out there, the people that's going to be out there. So there's going to be many people that you didn't even know exist that could provide or educate you about your own interests and sort of could continue prolonging that interest further. So yeah, that's what I reckon.
Awesome. Yeah, I like it. And I mean, the algorithm works so well. Like if someone with thousands and thousands of followers hits and he just hits like. Yep. For example, Richard Branson, if he likes anything, that's the first thing that comes up on my feed. So try and get their attention and try and make a bit of a dent like this. And I think video content is huge as well at the moment. Like this, just me shooting this stuff, have been getting around 3,000 views every week, and that's from not doing anything special except for getting the lid off and talking about creativity and flow and froth state. It sounds a lot like prostate, doesn't it? Anyway, so a couple of final questions for Joss.
Yes.
If you could find a frother,
okay.
It will do frothers that have passed on, so they don't have much froth left anymore. So dead frothers. Okay. Probably not the best way to say it. Who would that be and why?
Oh God, that's easy. Elvis.
Elvis.
Yeah, he had great hair and he could dance.
Okay.
And he changed. Look, he's the king of rock and roll. He was a massive influence for me as a kid, and my family loved listening to his music and that old school, 60s sort of music, rock and roll. So I got into it, and I loved Elvis.
Mate, he would have been a peak frother for sure.
He would have been.
Yeah. So, and we'll do one more. Okay. Who would be the frother that is alive at the moment that you'd love to connect with? Because we'll probably be able to do it because we're growing the network here at Find the Frothers.
Okay. Look, based on the fact that I think he's a comedic genius, to me. Jim Carrey. I love Jim Carrey. I love his movies. One of my favourite films of all time is Dumb and Dumber. It's a very silly movie, hence the title. But look, it's just great comedy to me, and I've always had an appreciation for his comedy. So I think that he'd be fun to hang out with for a day. He's a little bit different now, but look, back in the day, he was a genius. So that's. I
think some people would still say he's a genius. He's just on a different level.
He's on a different level. But those 90s films, phew,
That's sick.
they were the best.
Yeah. So, I guess to wrap up, happy birthday to LinkedIn. I know it's your 15th birthday across the world. To be finishing up in the States at the moment.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to say to your fellow comrades at LinkedIn about how they can find more froth at work?
Surround yourself around people like I said before, John Paul. Look, there are plenty of other people out there that have that high energy,
Maybe Jeff.
intensity, potentially.
Get a hold of Jeff. Jeff,
Well,
if you're listening.
Don't know Jeff, but look, that's maybe. But just surround yourself by those positive people, and you'll feel the impact.
All right, awesome. Thanks for coming in, man. High
No
five
worries.
it up.
Thank you.
Phew.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Okay, thanks everyone. Yep.
Yeah. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, then just follow me on LinkedIn, because I don't think channels really exist in terms of what a traditional channel is, unless someone can tell me otherwise. Thanks for listening, and ka-pew! Pew!